There is something of directness, purpose, and importance. We could say of humor, but of absolute seriousness as well. That touching all of these shared communications and witnesses should and has to be consistently awoken. Namely, to make a weak analogy, if one wants to say truly experience a piece of music, to be able to communicate it, to share it, to understand it and express it, one has to become a musician or believe in the existence of musicians. If one wants to appreciate a mathematical expression, one has to think like a mathematician. One has to become a mathematician in order to see it in its appropriate witness and light. And here we come to a problem. Namely, we live in a situation where, for a prolonged period of time, people do not believe in the directness of human realization. They do not believe we can understand. They don't believe in wisdom. They don't believe in the subtlety of the purposeful being and basis of our intellectual, spiritual, and natural human reality. And therefore it's not surprising that Parmenides, Heraclitus, the richness of the Vedas, the dignity that lives in so many bright and companioning epochs has been profoundly neglected, mistreated, kept in a closed and private corner, and lost. Because if you don't believe in wisdom, how can you treat, how can you express, how can you communicate yourself to that which is before you when a human being does believe that there can be a direct relation, an integral relation, a living relation, and a subtle and a developing relation to such conditions of inspired realization and truth? When the experience is not alienated, when the experience is purposeful, when the poetry and meditation, spiritual, moral, intellectual, and profound revelation of the root of the natural phenomenon of witness gives itself directly through a Parmenides, a Pythagoras, a Heraclitus, even all the spiritual traditions we could draw our hand or mind across, or those enriching and powerful purities that we find pregnantly resounded in the traditions of these minds that come down to us in the Rig Vedas, in the Rig Veda, like a Bharadwaj or a Parashara or a Grit Samad or others. Therefore, we don't even have appropriate names. That I have no appropriate title I could give to these communications, of an Emerson even, because these are not in any way that people would associate to them poems, hymns, meditations. They're more than all these things. They're more than what our society deigns to conceive of as philosophy or natural philosophy. They have an integral and moral, focal directness to what I believe they correctly see as the wellspring and heart that has been of inspiration ever since. And therefore it is with some difficulty and with my full attempt to bring these things in their own character and grace and state before you, in the variety of natural treatment that they themselves ask and speak for, that we can allow for this purposeful engagement, this purposeful realization of self-reliance, of self-expression, of self-realization, to not impose accidents on the fulfillment of reality's function, and to not alienate function from that which is omnipresently and eminently its sole solution, grace, and source. Because when there's been so many traditions that react to other people's reacting, which are more explicable by situations of circumstance and feigned attempts than by the nature of the case, then they are less informative of the heart of our own being and reality than something that, with the genuineness of a child, with the genuineness of undiminished simplicity and integrity, like an Emerson, like the golden ages of the Greeks, even like a Socrates, or like the Upanishads or the Vedas, speaks directly to the living possession of purpose. And so we have to always come to the heart and soul of these things.